What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Dad Project. Appreciate you joining me here for another week. I'm just going to launch straight into today's podcast topic. Now, today I'm going to have a talk about redefining failure for yourself in order to help you rebuild confidence, energy, and motivation. And the reason I want to talk about this is something that I've actually been thinking about in my own life. And it's something that I'm thinking about in the lives of some of the clients that I've come across. Now, let's take motivation, right? You'll see or hear probably a lot of people out there, motivational speakers, Instagram influencers, who will say, like, don't rely on motivation. You need discipline in order to succeed. And I agree. I agree that for a lot of people, they're seeking out this to be in this motivated state constantly in order for them to take action so that they can move forward. And if that's the case, especially when you're first starting out, I think you are going to run into some troubles very quickly at some point. And I do truly believe that you do need to be able to create discipline for yourself in order to create action and get away from the point where you are consistently seeking to be motivated or energized in order to take action, because it's not going to be there all the time. Now, when you first start out, I don't think motivation's not a bad thing at all. If you're the type of person that can feel motivated and feel energized to do something all the time, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Most people that I've met over the last 15 years when it comes to creating a new habit have started out highly motivated. Absolutely. I don't think there has been a single person I've met ever from a coaching standpoint who hasn't had a heightened level of motivation in order to begin a change. But that level of motivation is going to diminish at some point, and we need to understand what we need to do in order to stay on task, build confidence in a particular thing. And that is, you need to just be able to continue to take action. You need to stack those small wins up, because by stacking those small wins up, a couple of things are going to happen. You're going to build confidence in yourself. And that self-confidence, for a lot of people and people who lack self-confidence, comes from their inability to keep their word to themselves. So they don't do what they say they were going to do when they were going to do it. So as a result, every time they go to do something, they don't feel confident about what they're going to do because they haven't followed through on it in the past. And that's one thing with building self-confidence. It needs to come back to you just staying true to your word. And there's a whole thing we can unpack there, which I'm not going to on this podcast because it's really not the topic, but there is a little bit to unpack with staying true to your word and not following through on it. Like, what's the underlying reason why we're not following through on it? But that might be another podcast topic that I'll do in the coming weeks. But that's how you build confidence. And then from there, once you build confidence, or once you start to build confidence and you continue to take action, you can actually feel more energized and more motivated about that activity that you're undertaking, because you start to see some results. Like, you start to build some results. And then from there, you're building results, you're feeling more confident about it. And when you start to see results, you'll be more motivated. And it's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? But there are a lot of other people who don't have a problem with that discipline piece. And I've been one of these people in the past in a lot of different areas of my life, where I will continue to take action. Taking action is not a problem. Doing the work is not a problem. Like, grinding things out, working 14, 16-hour days, like all of that side of things, like, it's something that I have never had a problem doing. In fact, I actually feel compelled to do it. So the discipline piece is not a problem. But you've been disciplined on a particular path for so long that your confidence is completely shot. You've got zero energy for what it is that you're doing, and you're not motivated to do anything at all, but you continue to take action, albeit to the detriment of yourself, your own well-being, sometimes your relationship with self and those other people in your life, and you just continue to grind it out, and you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. You are going to be disciplined despite motivation. Now, there are going to be extended periods where you have to go through that, no doubt at all. What I'm aiming this towards, and where I am aiming this towards, is those people who have felt like they've been doing this, or who shouldn't say feel, have been doing this and in this mode for years, and they just can't get motivated, and they just have no energy, and they're just not seeing results. And I would put it to you, and I would put it to you and those people that are in that space, because I've been there, and there's times in my life where I'm still there, right? Are we doing the right work, and are we heading in the right direction? And sometimes that continuum to stay disciplined and stay taking that action, despite the detrimental effects with it, is us actually being selfish, because we're not willing to let go of something. We're not willing to course correct because we're stubborn, and we don't want to damage our ego in the process by moving away from something that at one point was important to us. At one point, all the work we did yielded a great result, but it's no longer yielding that result anymore. And that, as a result, has fed into a massive lack of confidence, a massive lack of energy, and a massive lack of motivation. And I've been there, and I'm coming across people who are in that same position a lot more than what I have in the past. And when you get to that point, one thing I've realized, and I've realized this probably more in the last couple of weeks, those of you that have listened to the podcast for a long time have shared quite the journey with me over the last couple of years as I've transitioned out of being a full-time gym owner, which was my identity for a very, very long time, into the online space, into kind of where we are now. And it's when you get to a point where you understand that you need to make an adjustment, but you still continue to do the work because you think that this is going to happen. One thing that has helped me is defining failure for myself. And I do this at a time where within the last couple of days, I've seen a few clips go around on social media of Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks. This is being recorded in April of 2023, where they got eliminated after the first round of the playoffs. And a reporter asked him, why did they fail in the playoffs again? And I'm paraphrasing this and probably butchering the shit out of it, but hopefully you get the idea. And Giannis went back at him quite heavily for what you would see an athlete do in a press conference, and basically told him it was a stupid question. And he said it was a stupid question because you can't fail if you keep retrying. He went out there and he stated, and he basically said, do you fail every day? Like, if you don't get a promotion at work on that particular day, is that a failure? If you, and it's not because you are like the goal of working, even though the overarching goal may be to get that promotion, you're there to provide for your family, to do something you enjoy, so on and so forth. And he went back and he said that for him, he's not going to win the championship every year. Everyone's trying to win the championship. We want to apply ourselves every time we show up. But when we don't win, we go back, we readjust, and we try again. And so that interaction got me thinking a little bit more about, especially after the last 2 years in my life, like, where are the times that I haven't clearly defined failure for myself? And there's a saying that goes around, which I've kind of attached onto over the last few years, and you only fail if you give up. But then we've got to then define, what does giving up mean to us? Like, and sometimes it needs to be that we need to redefine what we see as failure and what we see as giving up. Because if we've been disciplined on a path for years, and maybe we've been doing it for that long that when we first started out doing something, it yielded a great result for us, and it was amazing and it was fantastic. And we were constantly in the trenches. Yes, motivation would go up and down over month periods and things like that. But for the most part, like, we didn't go through prolonged, extended periods of motivation, lacking confidence, lacking energy. But we were seeing results. Things were moving in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, we get to a point where we start going through another bad period, and it's all right. I will stay disciplined because I know I'll come out of this. But then we never actually come out of it. Like, we keep taking that action and we keep grinding it out. And for me, that has been my ego stopping me from changing course and taking another direction. When what I needed to do at that point, and what I've done at the point in my life now, is I needed to define failure, because my ego didn't want me to fail. I was scared of failure. I was scared of feeling like a loser and a failure and so on and so forth. But failure at that point isn't adjustment and redirection. Failure is just quitting completely, quitting on yourself, quitting on your family, quitting on everything. And sometimes we may feel like that. And I felt like that in the past. But that wasn't that wasn't the failure I was scared of. The thing that I was scared of at that point that stopped me from readjusting was literally just me feeling bad about myself, because it's like, oh shit, I've been going the wrong way for a little bit. Failure, we don't fail if we adjust. And sometimes that adjustment, and for me and for certain things that I've done in life, that adjustment has actually been a complete 180-degree adjustment. Turn the other way and move the other direction. Start working the other direction. Because if you're someone that's sculpted that discipline and you can stay disciplined, the thing that you can learn from having to readjust and move the complete opposite direction, or that you've learned on that journey, is I don't need to keep going down these paths and putting myself through this all the time. I can adjust earlier, and I can take everything I've learned through all these knockbacks, all these setbacks, and all these things that I've learned, and the resilience that I've built through that, on this new path and this new direction that I'm going down. When you've gone through that, you've built a set of skills and some resilience over those years that are going to hold you in great stead on what may be a new path, a completely new path, completely new direction to what you're going. Or it may still be a very similar direction, just with adjusted actions that you need to take in order to start to see results. And that's the thing, right? There has to come a point where we have to be willing to not give up and not fail on something, and let go of our ego, so that we can serve ourselves better and serve those people around us better. Because I'm all for hard work, and I will always be for hard work. I think there is something inherently almost beautiful about somebody who knows how to work hard, and who knows how to go after something that they want without compromise. But at some point, we have to understand that this action that we're taking isn't giving us the result that we want. And maybe it's because we're not on the right path, but we stay on this path because we're too stubborn to get off it. We're too stubborn to let our fragile ego be broken and move in a slightly different direction. But by moving in that different direction, and taking that same work ethic and taking that same level of determination in a more concerted, in a better, clearly defined way that is yielding us results, we can start to see things happen and start to rebuild our confidence, rebuild our energy, and rebuild our motivation. And that's a journey that I've been on for the last couple of years, where yes, you do need to be motivated. You do need to be disciplined in what you're doing. You do need to really and sometimes you need to grit your teeth and you just need to work through it. But there is an element where sometimes if you've been doing that, if you've been gritting your teeth for so long and you're in the grind and you're working hard, but you're not going anywhere, we need to take a step back, put our ego to the side, define what failure is to us, define what giving up is to us, and understand that by changing direction or by doing something different, we're not failing. We're not giving up. But what we're doing is we're putting ourselves in a position where we can better serve ourselves. We can be of better service to those around us. And if you're somebody who is a coach or somebody in a service industry, you can be of better service to those people that you want to help. And that, at the end of the day, for me, is something that I've had to learn the hard way. And yes, there are plenty of people out there that can help you with counselors, psychologists, things like that. Sometimes you are so deep in it and you're so deep in the work that you need that third party opinion to actually be like, hey, is this the right direction for you to be going? I think a lot of us will work that out by ourselves eventually. But you don't want to get to the point where you're doing it, where you just continue to do things for the sake of hard work and for the sake of discipline at the expense of yourself and everything that's important to you. And more than likely, every reason that you're actually putting in all that work for. So let me know if that's something you've struggled with. I know there's a lot of people out there that actually just struggle to get motivated and start on it. But I also know there's quite a good number of people in there like myself who have just been grinding it out on something for years and years and years and years. And maybe it's because we're too stubborn and we're letting our egos get in the road. And what we really need to do is take maybe a prolonged step back in order to get a better picture of what's going on so we can adjust and move in a different direction. And by pushing that ego to the side and defining failure for ourselves, the fact that if I move in a different direction, am I really failing? The answer is probably no. You're probably not a failure. You're a human being who has really put their nose to the grindstone and worked hard to get yourself to the point that you're at. And you've collected a set of skills along the way that are going to serve you in whatever else that you're going to go and do. So let me know if that's something you struggle with. Reach out if you need help. Feel free to send me a message. I didn't do the favors at the start of the episode, so I'll do it at the end of the episode. Please make sure that you're subscribed on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. We are on all of them: Apple, Spotify, and Google. Leave us a 5-star review if you got some value out of the episode. Also, give me some feedback. Would you prefer me to do the plugs at the end of the episode or the start? All the podcast experts out there tell me I should be doing it at the start, but I'm open to feedback. So send me a message. Let me know if you prefer me to do it at the end, and I'll give that a go for a couple of weeks and see how it goes. But like, share, subscribe, follow us on the socials at The Unstoppable Dad on Instagram, The Unstoppable Dad Project on Facebook. Comment on it. Let me know what you think. Send me a message if you need some help, or even if you just want to chat about this particular topic or any other topic that I've done on the podcast over the last couple of years. But thanks again for listening. I appreciate you all taking the time out of your day, and have a great week. I'll talk to you next week. Goodbye.